Beautiful sunshine. These are indeed conditions for the beautiful game.
And right when they needed it.
And he's done it! Yes! Have they done it now? Over the hills and far away! No catching them now! Hope, panache and passion! And again, they simply do not know what has hit them. And he's managed to gift it back. And the shot! Got to be quick to recover this. Look at shot! Oh! No mistake! That is how you do it! And that is fabulous! A true beauty of a goal!
eFootball Mobile versus FC Mobile. The battle between two of the biggest football video game titans, and sadly, not everyone is actually having a serious conversation about it. What is that doing here? Get out of here! The most common conversation I see surrounding this topic goes something like FC Mobile and eFootball Mobile, or the other way around. Well, the conversation is starting to shift from eFootball actually having a fan base, while the other one is being shit on by its most devoted followers. Heck, it is being dogpiled on so much that this G decided to make a diss track on it.
My bad, let me keep it staying PG. FIFA 15 was the last.
This is a banger, they should teach this in school. And yes, I have been a very active participant in this trend, and maybe I started this fire, I don't really know. And look, I have been really aggressive and even mean to some extent, but in this video, I want to show my nice side, compliment some things a little bit. Well, obviously not to this game, but in this video, I'll take eFootball as a comparison to FC Mobile and explain on why one game, despite being worse, managed to retain the love from its fanbase, while the other one is getting all the hate that it has always fucking deserved. Now, in order to glaze eFootball, I at least have to be fair and criticize the game's limitations or its biggest weaknesses that led to many people not really being fond of Konami's golden child. FIFA Mobile is better than eFootball Mobile. At least that is something I would say if I was an 8th grader. I'm saying FIFA Mobile, not FC, alright? You see, as a former child, if something is flashy and looks nicer and high quality, I would probably prefer that one better. And to be honest, to any new person who's not familiar with these two football games, that would probably be the case too. Like, these games are football games, but they are really different because their developers have really different plans for it. FC Mobile has better graphics. Well, at least the players' models look nice. They don't look contorted. There are more licensed team, and from the outside, it just looks more like a football game. Just turning on the game and you'll be immediately hit with a fucking dopamine grenade. Like, look at this fucking place. Colors everywhere. Promos moving left and right like a slot machine. Viewing a pack and look at all of these well-designed cards with lights, patterns, and colors that you will not get unless you give EA more money. Like, seriously, the dopamine is insane. Like, if I was still a toddler, I would be hooked. Also, the game is a lot easier to play and also a lot easier to master, which means it is a lot easier to be a dick and a lot easier to be tricked into spending money in this game. The movement is most of the time crisp, the responsiveness is fast, but sadly it's getting worse for some reason, and it is a lot easier to do skills, and not gonna lie, it's practically an arcade game at this point, and it should have stayed like that. Well, moving to eFootball, look at how unenthusiastic,
The next day.
Look at how unenthusiastic the interface looks. Outside of the ads thing right here, there's not much going on. Also, the packs even look miserable. Like, look at all of these cards, and look at what you're actually getting. There's not too much happening, and I mean, that's fine. The players look Okay, no amount of graphic enhancement will make Francesco Totti not look good in a selfie. But honestly, I mean, it's not too bad. I can still at least recognize that that is Kevin De Bruyne. And there is a good reason for this, but I will explain later in this video. Okay, let's get into the real meat of this section, the gameplay analysis. And I will be as fair as I can possibly be because it's really hard to make a football game not shitty, especially when it's on mobile platforms. The gameplay in eFootball is so much more challenging. Passing is still horrible. I'm sorry, I prefer passing with a power meter that actually goes to where I want it to go because it's a much safer method. And it's also even worse when the player loves doing no-look passes, like please stop doing this shit. Don't your parents teach you to look both ways before you cross the street? Funny enough, the game still can't register whether it's offensive or defensive, leading to calling the second defender being delayed because when the ball is out of reach, the game just assumes that you're still in attacking mode. And a weird problem that is still prevalent is that I still cannot cancel my shooting, and I think you can understand what's going on here. It's so stupid that it led to this little happy accident right here. Dribbling in this game is a fucking fairy tale. Even worse than that, through ball is universally agreed by the fanbase to be a scam. And something I really fucking hate about eFootball is that if the player is not from a center midfielder to an attacker, then that player's responsiveness and ball control are equivalent to a lobotomized zombie. Like what? Just because I'm a defender or a goalkeeper, that means I don't know how to do anything? And I know Konami is thriving towards realism, but I swear I have seen more amateur players in real life with faster responsiveness than in this game. And for some god knows why reason, Mbappe is so bad at ball handling in this game. I don't mind him being bad at dribbling, but being bad at ball handling is just a no-no. But weirdly enough, there are some merits to this limitation, and I will explain this in later parts of the video. As someone who plays both games simultaneously, I can tell that playing FC Mobile or FIFA Mobile feels safer, because here at least you can predict what's going on here more often than in eFootball, because in eFootball anything can happen, and it makes the experience of shifting from one game to another feels like culture shock. The unpredictability in eFootball can be quite discouraging for new players, and look, I would know. And this unpredictability problem consists of the connection instability still being so omnipresent, making PvP extremely annoying to play. You know, I live in Vietnam and not many people play this game here, and so I'm pretty sure I've been meeting the same guy from Thailand 7 times in a row now. He whooped my ass. Like, the connection was so bad that I got from Division 5 to Division 4 by winning 2 out of 5 games, because in the other 3 the connection was just disrupted and then I got the win for some reason. The scripting in this game is so much more devastating than FC, I cannot lie. I don't know how coding works, but I know how to describe my experience with scripting. In FC Mobile, there's this nature of guaranteed moments, and scripting is there to kinda lower down this probability, and consequently it becomes a middle finger to the people who are actually good at this game, because if scripting is on the other side, your entire team is paralyzed for a random period of time. While here in eFootball, scripting is more clear-cut, but it's somehow more soul-crushing.
Okay. Alright. Okay.
It happens as the game goes on. For instance, if one team leads in the 80th minute, then the rest of the 10 minutes are fucking miserable. Like seriously, you could just stand in front of the goalkeeper and then your player will either freeze himself, just miss point blank, or the goalkeeper becomes prime Yashin. And I feel like it's more likely for you to win if you score in the second half of the game, then your teams would just become Italian defenders out of the blue, because it's very hard to make comebacks in this game. If you conceded twice, no goal scored, then might as well wave the white flag. And you're probably thinking that sounds obvious, like a duh moment, but just look at this montage and feel the pain with me. Yeah, that was the only instance that I got on camera that was this obviously scripted. Don't worry, I'm fine. Yeah, okay, outside of that, another reason why not many people play eFootball is because the events here are bland like porridge. And honestly, I cannot even call these events. It's just like weekly challenges with some pretty decent prizes, some even lasting for 2 weeks, but they can be done in like 1 day. And with all of these drawbacks, as a kid, I don't think I would prefer eFootball too much. Heck, it would probably discourage me from even trying it. Not only is it hard to play, there isn't much motivation to return to it every day. And maybe that is the problem with me as a young consumer. Was I actually wanting to play a football game for fun? Or was the concept of me playing a game like doing daily chores the same as fun? This perception changed as I grew. I want to play football on my phone, and I also want to be good at it. And I still believe eFootball offers the best at that, because as I peel off all of this surface level shit, I started to understand why I hate this shit so much more than the one that I deemed as boring. And the first reason is this. You know how FC Mobile players usually like to throw this term around whenever people complain? I always find it funny because what skill issues are we talking about here? Like, what is the skill it takes to do this, or this, and obviously this? Like, if this term is thrown around eFootball more often, it would probably make more sense, but even then, Konami has already fostered a very healthy game by adding this.
Respect, man.
Like I said before, eFootball is really hard to play, and a lot harder to master, which means if you do become good at it, that certainly is saying something. Seriously, knowing how to pass correctly and doing skills in this game can be game-changing, mainly because the defending in this game is really solid. I'm serious, even for a game that has players slipping around like they're running in Diddy's home, it's somehow really solid. Like, let's start with a simple fact. In eFootball, when your player tackles, they actually fucking tackle and keep the ball out the opponent. Comparing the defending in the FC to eFootball is like a fucking joke. Here in eFootball, knowing how to position your center back right is vital, and doing it right can make your center back a goddamn hero. Or in situations where the opponent is waiting for a pass, you can rush your center back to tackle the ball aggressively to keep the pressure on the opponent. Isn't that wonderful? A game that rewards the players for knowing how to predict the movements and choices of the opponents, and also rewards you for being aggressive and could cost you a counter attack or a goal conceded if you're not. That is some skill-based shit, and this somehow does not exist in FC Mobile. Over here, the game punishes you for basically existing and not giving EA enough money. Like, what is the fucking point of trying to be aggressive if the ball is just gonna phase through your players anyway? But back to eFootball. With a defensive system that is this solid, just dribbling through a center back can be a defining moment for you to score, and that takes timing, and timing takes skill. Where in FC, people can just spam 5 lane changes with their strikers or whatever, and then the defender will just get confused and then walk out of position for no reason, because manual defending is a fucking mess. I have said in part 1 that the player with your input should have all the defending abilities. The second defender should only be there to assist you, and you should not rely on the AI to defend for you. And all of this is in eFootball Mobile. Also, there is auto defending in FC Mobile, which I had already explained in part 1 is so OP and unfair. With that system, I'd argue, what is the skill here? Letting AI do my work? Every time your team set up a bus, it's not because you wanted it to happen, it's just the game setting it up for you because you were a good boy this week. How can you brag about this? This game is practically every college student since ChatGPT exists. Furthermore, it's not so easy to be a prick in this game. There is no meta way to spam in eFootball. For most of the time, you kinda have to do everything differently. This crossing mechanism has a high success rate, but it takes a long time, at least long enough for your opponents to tackle you. Doing skills is super technical because there are so many more skills here, and each skill has its own set of commands. Through balls are again universally agreed to be a scam, so good luck spamming it, I guess. Okay, technically it's still a very powerful tool, but it definitely requires a good passer and good vision from the player in order to pull off some cohesive passes for your counterattacks. And it can be a lot better if the sensitivity of the D-pad can be lowered down in this game. Something I should recommend to avoid doing in eFootball is trying to waste time. Like I said before, any player from defensive midfielder down to the goalkeeper are really bad at ball controlling and passing to a degree. So let's just say that it is the start or even the second half of the game and you want to be a dick. Believe me, your opponent would get really excited. And oh yeah, I must not forget, penalties here is simply guessing where the ball is going. No power measure bullshit. And it is a very accessible way for me to know how much luck do I have this year. Yikes.
No! Saved it! And their fate is sealed!
Now, I'm not saying that you're gonna expect all flowers and rainbows when you walk into eFootball. If anything, you should be ready to try everything and ready to experience a lot of failures and mistakes and hopefully learn from it. But I still think eFootball will teach you a thing or two about getting better at football games, and that's probably thanks to the game's learning process being more concrete. When you play a new online game, probably the first thing you would do is to play offline, and here playing against AI is a great way to practice. Not only is it not stressful, it could probably train you better to get familiar with the gameplay. Compare that to FC, where the only game mode where you can actually get good is just head-to-head itself. Like the AI games here are either too easy or just too hard. There's no middle ground, but more importantly, it definitely won't teach you anything about the game. Instead, all you will figure it out is that, wow, this game is horrible. And if you really think you're gonna be good at attacking by playing versus attack for a week after losing 10 head-to-head games, No! Don't listen to us YouTubers. We are really stupid. I'll give you an actual advice on getting better at FC Mobile. Go play eFootball first. Train here with versus AI games. Then come back to FC Mobile. Delete FC Mobile because nobody would care if you are good at FC Mobile. As I grew, I think it has become so much less cool to be good at FC Mobile. Don't you guys realize that too? Because nobody cares about the gameplay of this game. It's just bland and it sucks, and it's not even worth sharing because people only care about pack openings and bragging about their clickbait channel. How shameless. While here, I can just play a game at top player or maybe superstar difficulty, turn on some Spotify and maybe have some fun. And isn't that what's gaming all about? I might not return to it every day like a parasite, but at least when I do, I have a good reason to. And again, as I said, if you're really good at this game, that is so much more admirable because you've mastered something that is super skill based. Watching people flexing their skills in this game on Instagram or YouTube is so fucking cool. Like, look at this, I bet he gets all the bitches.
Iniesta? No, sick.
And look, you don't have to play rankings, the rewards fucking sucks, and for good reason. I love that Konami diverges our attention more on playing versus AI or events, because it would not build in you this compulsory will to have to play rankings just to get good rewards, and in return you would not get this fear of missing out. You just don't feel like you got to, you don't got to. But if you do, just remember what I said, it's heaven then hell really quickly. So prepare your creativity, tolerance, and 5G tower to experience the ride. Brain versus spam. If you ever wonder what a battle between a player in eFootball Division 1 against someone in FC Champions 1 would be like, I can firmly bet that the battle wouldn't happen because it would be a human against no one, because it's all bots here. So again, I ask, what is the point of getting good at FC anymore, man? It's surprising that eFootball, despite having fewer licensed teams, is much more responsive than FC. Let's take Mickey van de Ven for example. September 29th, 2024, Tottenham Hotspurs vs Man United. 1 assist and a clean sheet for the Dutchman. Solid display. 2 days later, get his own Player of the Week card in eFootball. Meanwhile, at FC... Who? Okay, they did give him a card in the recent Halloween event, but it's a bit too late, don't you think? Mr. Van de Ven has been cooking since last season, and you only got him a good card recently? And it's not just him. There are so many players who have had outstanding performances in real life but seem to go unnoticed in FC just because EA is slow, or maybe they just hate the teams that these players play for. I just can't tell. I still believe that there has to be some level of bias in EA. It still annoys me that Atalanta, despite having an amazing campaign in 2023-2024, got nothing, no good cards in this game. And I thought that this was some licensing revenge story, but Napoli still had 2 Team of the Season cards, so I guess they just can't stand Atalanta. Things are a lot simpler in eFootball. If a player has a good match, they receive a good card, and it's amazing how this game keeps up with the date really well. If a player has a change in their hairstyle or beard, then eFootball is always the first game to change their models. Compare that to FC, where we have to be stuck with Antoine Griezmann's shaved head for a damn year. And I already mentioned this example before, but Kobe Mainu, despite just getting his face modeled this year, had the last year's haircut. So how slow is EA? This may not seem like a big deal at all, but it does highlight where EA and Konami choose to focus their resources on. EA really just put money into their events and their features, and it wouldn't really cost them too much, and in return it brings them more profit. You can call it optimization, but I just think it's just laziness. While Konami is really just trying to polish the game, and it is the same game, but Konami always focuses more on the football, which is just respectable. You know, since the game was rebranded from PES to eFootball, things have changed like a little bit. eFootball started to become more of a card collecting game, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I don't always want to try too hard just to get some black balls. And I think Konami saw that FIFA Mobile is doing well with the card collecting mechanism, and maybe they thought, why not do that? And so they did. So comparing the card collecting aspect of both games, I think eFootball, even without a market, you either keep the card or discard them, is somehow better here, because the cards here are worth collecting. They don't suck, and since the upgrading system here is so simple, or some Play of the Week cards come with upgrades already on them, all of that makes collecting cards in eFootball actually fun to do. You might not use them all the time, but since the events in this game bounce around different leagues, you will eventually have to use these cards at some point. That gives them usability, which is something EA is really trying to kill for some reason. It's also important to mention this, I have played this game for a while and I have never experienced FOMO, fear of missing out. All of the cards in eFootball revolve around the same margin of stats, and it never goes on beyond that. This would mean a card that is all the way back from February, like this Player of the Week Kyle Walker, would still be reliable to this day. And also, I love how eFootball respects legends, from legitimate legends to momentary sensations. And just getting an icon in this game is a pretty huge deal, at least for us free-to-play users, because that one icon can practically carry a whole team. In contrast, in FC games, icons are just like any other player. Packing these icons is just so disheartening. It would go something like, holy shit, that's David Beckham, and then, oh, he's untradeable. And I have to save up some Mascherano's for 2 weeks just to actually use him. And I have to strain my eyes just to upgrade him to level 25. And even then, he can't even dribble because it's not 140 yet. Therefore, I have to rank him up to orange. That would mean I have to wait for 4 weeks just to do so. And then I'll have to buy a new pair of glasses to upgrade him up to level 30. But then, after new cards come out in the future, this card would be obsolete. And even then, I can't even fucking sell them. Therefore, I'm not gonna do that. But I won't go anywhere in head-to-head if I don't do that. And I'm definitely not spending money on this game because I fucking hate this shit. We barely look at the images of these legends like they're footballers anymore. They're just corporate products in our eyes. And moreover, the game's meta just ruins their abilities even further. You guys remember Lars Rickens? EA gave him 2 cards, both of which were underwhelming because he clearly doesn't fit the meta. Therefore, EA proceeds to forget that he ever existed. So much for honoring icons in this game. I don't know, man. Imagine having a monopoly amount of models and licenses just to not give a shit. Konami, with so much less, at least tried their best with what they have. And I know this is an unfair comparison, but I'm not forgiving EA for the fact that all their fucking cards would have better value if the gameplay wasn't so demanding. Like I said again, the upgrading system in eFootball is really simple. That would reduce the commitment just for upgrading the card and focus that more on enjoying the fucking card. In eFootball, the most beloved icon is Alessandro Costa Curta, a player I bet you haven't even heard of before this video, because he is as good as all of these players combined. I managed to pack post goals in this game, and I've been using this card for 10 months now. Recently, Andres Iniesta retired from football, and just a few days later, Konami just put out this little challenge for everyone to get Iniesta for free. And guess what? He's fantastic. Also, I must not forget, this game has Peter Drury for commentary, and that is an automatic W.
And nobody in this atmosphere can hide from the truth about how much this game matters. The scene overflows with colour and passion.
Even for a game, you can definitely tell that he's pouring his heart out for it.
Now it's Ronaldinho, shapes to shoot. Oh, screamer! About as smooth as it gets. And this is getting ridiculous, borderline crazy.
And since the game is striving towards realism, there are a lot of additional features that are just so charming. Like after getting promoted up a division or winning an event, a set of animations will play and it's just so adorable. Or how the game has more features for team tactics and individual instructions that can help change the way you play. You know, elements typically found in PC or console games that Konami somehow managed to fit all into a mobile game. That is just really impressive. I have said this before, but not everyone has a computer or PS5 to play high quality authentic games. The best device that we have is just our goddamn phone or a mom's tablet to enjoy our lives. And outside of scrolling through brain rot every day, sometimes we want to play games. So why is it so hard to deliver us football fans an optimized video game for us to enjoy? Oh wait, EA did have that and they fucked it, what the hell? Oh no, even with the challenging gameplay, not enough licensed team, total neglect of German teams, Konami still manages to make a football game that is so much more responsive and even more respectful than EA. You can criticize eFootball for being boring, the frustrating Wi-Fi issues, or not having outstanding events, but what you cannot criticize is the company's determination to make a no other woke nonsense football game, and I am just so horny for that. You know, even when a game doesn't blow you away, give you meaningful insights, or make you want to play it from time to time, I think eFootball Mobile delivers a surreal experience all packed into the screen of mobile devices. It is a game that is really worth sharing with friends and those who love football or those just looking for something more immersive. I think there is a stigmatization when it comes to mobile games, and that it shouldn't be really good because the standards are usually low. While that is a common perspective, I think it undermines the efforts of the teams and developers of these games. These aren't just any small mobile games that get advertised haphazardly on social media. These are products made by billion-dollar companies with established reputations, and therefore we, the consumers, should hold higher standards even if it's just mobile games. eFootball, despite being the underdog, has a stronger fan base for just being a really good game for people to play, like actually fucking play and not posting the level 30 Ballon d'Or R9 to boast about their grind of making content for toddler baby boo-boos, but I'll digress. I'm serious when I say that we have not had a mobile game that does things this generous until eFootball decides to do it. Not only does it fulfill the primary mobile game purpose of relieving stress or to relax, it also achieves as being a game to improve your gaming skills and something to share with others. And that was my review of eFootball Mobile. Well, not entirely. You see, the series has been and is about criticizing FC Mobile, and the main purpose of this video was to use eFootball as an example to show you a game where people actually enjoy playing rather than any other trivial reasons. Because for FC Mobile, I don't think EA really knows what they are trying to focus on for this game. They want people to play this game more, but yet they make the events first so boring, and then they make the integral functions like buying, ranking, upgrading so demanding, wow, even glitchy, and even the gameplay, the fucking bread and butter, so bad. And it is a damn shame that I know that the game really wasn't like this. Seeing this game's downfall, although was quite sad, is totally fucking deserved on EA's part. But more importantly, it has been more of an opportunity for me to self-reflect on how this game kind of destroyed me a little bit.